The Nintendo Switch 2 is really starting to break them. It's starting to break certain people when it comes to the actual facts of this platform. So today I wanted to kind of chill and talk about that just a bit, in addition to an update that we have that's unconfirmed but should actually be pretty much true based off of what's happening in October. We also got some other information and news on Nintendo Switch 2 and RPG games as well, so it should be a pretty good vid. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Shout outs to my man Paul Gale Network. He actually put this out on Twitter, and he was previously right about the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 when it came to sales, and he's been right on a number of different information over the years when it comes to Nintendo stuff. So of course we can't take it as confirmed, but we should be finding out pretty soon here when it comes to just some of the stuff that we see about how well exactly the Nintendo Switch is doing outside of what we already got, which was the 10.36 million by the end of September 30th, according to Nintendo. And we're going to discuss the interesting information with that when it comes down to it. But Paul Gale Network put out this tweet saying that as we head into the weekend, here's some exciting news. 12 million Nintendo Switch 2 systems have now been sold worldwide. Great numbers ahead of Black Friday. So heading into the weekend, obviously this November, at this point, early November. So that's definitely really good. So October, putting up some pretty good numbers overall. If you can do 2 million plus when it comes to that, and that's with Pokemon as well. So imagine once we actually get into the holiday, when it comes to people buying the games and comes to people buying the actual system, and really for Christmas and all of that, gift giving holidays and everything, and just for birthdays and stuff like that, I think that it's going to get even better and better. And Nintendo's right on track to hit where they felt that they could, which was lifting up from 15 million to 19 million. And that's definitely breaking a few people out there. I've seen some videos that I thought that were pretty funny overall, to where they're starting to shift the goalposts. Now it's starting to be, oh, well, it's not sold, it's shipped numbers. And shipped numbers have always been sold numbers, by the way. Microsoft, Nintendo, PlayStation, everything when it comes down to it is that they say shipped because they ship them out to the stores. And when they ship them to the stores, the retailers actually buy those units. And when they buy those units overall, it counts as a sale. And that's how it's always been for every single company when it comes to Microsoft, Sony, Xbox, Sega, back when they had a system, Neo Geo, or whatever the case is. Like, it's always based off of what they ship out and what the retailers are buying. And the thing about it is that if a system is doing really well, if a system is selling really well, a retailer is not going to be strong-armed or is not going to be forced to buy a bunch of units. So I have seen some people try to say that they're trying to inflate or force the numbers, and that's definitely not true. If something isn't doing well, a retailer who's trying to make money is not going to say, yeah, just keep on giving us these systems. So essentially what's happening is that they see that there is a good amount of systems being sold every week, and they want to make sure that they're actually fully stocked, so whenever a customer walks in, they can actually buy one. It's the same thing with like Apple. Apple doesn't usually have sellouts in their stores for an iPhone, but we all know the iPhone is doing really well. You can always see iPhones in there because it's doing well, and Apple wants to make sure anytime that you walk into a store that you're actually going to be able to buy the iPhone overall. So there might be some shortages at the beginning while people rush out to go get it, just like the Nintendo Switch 2, but unlike PlayStation 5, unlike Xbox Series to a lesser degree, unlike PlayStation 4, unlike the Nintendo Switch 1, unlike the Nintendo Wii, Nintendo, for the first time when it comes to, it seems like anybody, actually really fully stocked the system to not have crazy shortages overall. And that's the reason why we're getting these record-breaking sales, is because people can actually go out there and buy the system and don't have to sit down and wait or get it off of eBay scalped, with the exception of Japan with that, although it does seem like Japanese stock is getting considerably better since Pokemon Legends ZA has been out. Sold 201,000 units in that opening week and has averaged above 70,000 units, even hitting 80,000 units plus for the past week. So I do see Nintendo shipping a lot more there, and the shortages that Japan is having is still there, but it's not as bad as it was before. So that's essentially what's happening right now, and it's going to continue because the retailers see that there's a lot of games that are coming out. People are asking about them. People are pre-ordering the games. People are excited and interested in them. So they're going to continue shipping units to the stores, and the stores are going to continue selling those units. And the number that the Nintendo Switch 2 has is going to continue to go up, and it's going to get into the hands of more consumers overall, like we've seen with Pokemon and like what Paul Gale is saying here as we get closer to the holiday season, Black Friday coming up, and of course Christmas and any other holidays that people do celebrate for the end of the year. And even New Year's, people do get gifts for New Year's as well. So I think that's also going to be a thing for the Nintendo Switch 2. So this is starting to break them. The narrative was before that nobody's buying this thing. Look, it's on store shelves. It's all stocked. Nobody's getting them. It's flopping. It's failing. That was the narrative back when people were trying to listen to that. And I think at this point, people aren't really listening to it anymore. People are realizing how ridiculous it is. And once again, it's okay to have criticism. It's okay to critique. There's nothing wrong with that overall. But we don't need to lie about sales numbers. That doesn't do anything. If you're trying to help out or whatever the case is, like lying about how the system is selling is not something that needs to be done because it's a lie. So I do think that actual critique when it comes to like game key cards or when it comes to certain stuff with pricing, that stuff's okay. I don't have no problem with that. I've done it myself too. When it comes to like $80 Mario Kart or when it comes to game key cards and some of that situation, hey, let's get some actual physical cards. But when it comes to lying about sales in order to fit your narrative or agenda, that's weird. In order to make more money on YouTube, that's weird. Misleading the public for that type of stuff, that's super weird. And it's starting to break them. It's starting to get to them, and they're starting to make up even more stuff. And once again, people are starting to see how ridiculous it is as the Switch 2 sales are continuously rising at this point, and more people are picking it up. So we'll find out later from Nintendo about how well it did, probably like around February. So we'll find out about the holiday season and this third quarter that's going down. So it should be pretty good. So what do you guys think about what I just said here? Let me know in the comment section. But before we get to the next topic, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos as soon as they drop. Okay, let's talk about Kirby Air Riders because it uses a brand new engine from Bandai Namco. It's called the Soul Avs engine, and it's spelled SOL-AVES. So I hope I'm saying that right. So shout outs to Go Nintendo with the write-up here. And they said that Kirby Air Riders Global Test Ride event is going down on the Nintendo Switch 2. I played that myself. Make sure you guys check out my video on it with the Kirby Air Riders game. I actually played in the demo. So yeah, it's actually crazy. But anyway, let's get back to this. In addition to getting their first taste of gameplay, some people have already gone through the demo in search of new insights into its development. One of those insights is that Kirby Air Riders appears to be using a brand new game engine from Bandai Namco called the Soul Avs. Bandai Namco has mentioned that they've been working on a new game engine, but very little has been said about it in the past few years. Previously, they've used existing engines such as Unity or the Havoc engine or even Unreal Engine, but now it appears that they've finally completed their in-house engine, which is being called the Soul Avs. The engine appears in notices with Kirby Air Riders demo itself, as well as on Bandai Namco's website and on the trademark notices filed by them. Kirby Air Riders will be the first title produced by Bandai Namco built with the Soul Avs engine. Presumably, it will also be their primary development engine going forward, but we'll have to wait and see if that holds true. You can get a glimpse of the engine's full capabilities by checking out the Kirby Air Riders demo event this weekend and next, or wait until the game's full release on November 20th, 2025. So that was one thing that I noticed when I played the game. Instantly, this engine, one, is super clean. Like, it's super clean. It seems like they're not having any issues. I didn't have a single frame rate drop overall. And of course, based off of requirements of the game, like if you build a different type of game and what type of textures you're using and what you're doing in the game in terms of how ambitious it is or how big or the open world, whatever the case is, it'll probably change. But from what I played overall, this seems like a super impressive engine. Everything was fast. Everything was snappy. It looked good overall. I think it's customized to the T. And you're definitely probably going to get more Nintendo games with Bandai Namco built with this engine. I don't know if this is going to be something that they use for everything, but I do think that if they did, when it comes down to it, it's definitely a good thing, at least from first impressions. it's a good thing. I really enjoyed what I played here and the snappiness of everything overall. So I know that's more than just the game engine. There's also design elements, there's UI elements, and there's other things that play a part into it. But so far, so good for Kirby Air Riders when it comes to the engine itself, because I didn't feel a single frame rate drop. It's not the most complex graphics game out there, but for it to be as moving as fast as it does with as much stuff on screen as it does, the way that it plays, it's pretty good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else they use this engine for. I think it's a good start when it comes to what we're seeing here from the Soul Avs engine, and hopefully many more games to come running on it based off of what I've seen here. So what do you guys think about Kirby Air Riders, the demo event that went down? Did you play in it? And what do you think about the engine that the game is running on? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, let's move on to the next racing game that we're going to talk about here, and that is Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. We've got some Nintendo Switch 2 information to go over, and it's pretty interesting because we've got the file size, which is going to be 16 gigabytes on launch. We recently got a release date, which it's launching the same day as Metroid Prime 4, December 4th for the digital edition, and then early next year if you want the physical edition. There also is a discount if you have the Switch 1 and you want to upgrade. There's a discount that you can do that as well. I think it's like $10 or something like that. So it's one of those things to where it's like, okay, if you want to get the upgrade, if you already have the Switch version, which I think a lot of people might, because that is a 30 FPS version of the game, and the Switch 2 version, based off these official specs from Sega, is a lot better. So right now, here's what we're looking at, guys. Dock mode, single and two-player split screen, we're looking at 1440p at 60 FPS. Dock mode with four-player split screen, 1440p at 30 FPS, because they do have to render out the game multiple times to the four screens. Handheld mode, single and two-player split screen, 1080p 60 FPS. Handheld mode, four-player split screen, 1080p 30 FPS. So based off of the trailer that they did show and these specs right here, it looks like we actually have a really solid port of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. And I talked about how the game did okay, over 1 million units across Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch 1, and PC. But then if you kind of dig a little bit deeper, you see how popular Sonic is at times when it comes down to it. You see the reviews for the game and kind of like the big online movement. The fact that they were only able to move 1 million units, I think that says two different things. One, people are waiting for discounts or waiting for other things. And two, they probably were not happy with the primary target platform for it when it comes to the Nintendo Switch and that version not being up to snuff. So I think the Nintendo Switch 2 can kind of come in and help out there, because I think a lot of people actually want to play a Sonic racing game on Nintendo hardware. Because listen, guys, it was on PS4 and Xbox One in addition to PS5 and Xbox Series. Between the Switch 1 and also PS4, PS5, that is a ton of install base before you even get to Xbox One, Xbox Series, and the PC. And the fact that they only did 1 million just shows that there's some apprehension about pricing or apprehension about the platform in terms of where people want to play the game when it comes down to it, which Nintendo hardware would be up there, right? Play it portable and all that good stuff, but the Switch 1 version just wasn't there. So I do think that there could be a nice boost in sales when it comes to the Switch 2 version of the game, people upgrading in addition to people just saying, okay, now I want to play it on this platform. Because you look at Mario Kart World, for example, yes, it was bundled with the system, but even in the non-bundled version, it still sold significantly better than Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. So people want to play the kart racing games high quality on a Nintendo platform. So we'll see what happens once this digital version launches on December 4th. Then, of course, the physical edition early next year. I think that could actually be a nice boost to sales. I'm definitely going to pick it up myself, physical copy, probably next year. So we'll see how Sonic does when it comes down to that. Plus, there'll be some extra DLC out and all of that. We'll see if the community can keep up with the game. But what do you guys think when it comes to these specs here? It's good to see that we're getting games in 1440p, 60 FPS. We're getting some nice, clean resolutions and frame rates. And that's pretty much what people wanted with the Switch 2 when it comes down to it. So we don't get crusty racing games, which doesn't make any sense considering Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is at 60 FPS, but I get it. I mean, obviously it's a game that has a lot of other stuff that's kind of happening probably, so understandable there. But what do you guys think when it comes to Sonic Racing CrossWorlds? when it comes to the Switch 2 version, file size, specs overall. Let me know in the comment section below. So what do you guys think about everything that we discussed here when it comes to Nintendo stuff, Kirby, Sonic, and more? Let me know in the comment section below. So things are really starting to come together for the Nintendo Switch 2. We're getting a bit more physical copies. We're getting stuff like Sonic Racing, CrossWorlds, and it just seems like the system is coming together with a lot of great core titles at the most important time when it comes to the holiday push. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from Sonic, and of course there's going to be a lot of other surprises for next year. So what do you guys think about all the different topics that we went over, from Kirby to what's going on with the Nintendo Switch 2 sales? Looks like it's top 12 million before the big holiday, and of course Sonic revving up the engines here on December 4th, plus a real, once again, physical cart version next year. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, click that notification bell, and drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys want to see next when it comes to gaming on the Nintendo Switch 2 and RPG content. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.